Here's something to think about. What if we're actively choosing our own downfall? Not, the usual suspects like war or climate change, but something quieter. What if we're trading away what makes us human, bit by bit, for that quick hit of digital validation? And the really unsettling part, we often seem perfectly happy doing it, smiling even. This isn't some, distant sci-fi idea goes way back. Aldous Huxley, writing Brave New World nearly a century ago in 1931, and his vision of dystopia was different. Not jackboots and force, but something, sneakier.
Right. He pictured a world where people wouldn't just put up with their oppression, they'd actually love it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Willingly giving up their humanity for, distraction.
Yeah. Pacified by nonstop entertainment, instant gratification, and that fictional drug, soma.
So the pill to smooth over any rough edges, any deep thoughts, any discomfort.
Mm-hmm. And what's really kind of chilling is Huxley himself later said he felt his predictions were becoming reality much faster than he'd thought.
Which brings us right to today.
It really does. I mean, his vision feels incredibly relevant now, doesn't it? We don't have a literal soma pill, obviously, but you could argue we have something, maybe even more powerful, more pervasive.
Okay, so that's what this deep dive is really about then.
Precisely. We want to explore those frankly alarming parallels between Huxley's world and ours. We'll be drawing on insights from modern psychology and neuroscience to really unpack it.
Unpack what specifically?
How these digital platforms we use every day are, in some ways, mirroring that Huxleyan dystopia. What that actually means for human consciousness, for how we think and feel, and crucially, what we can actually do about it. What steps can you, listening right now, take to maybe reclaim some agency?
Okay, so we've touched on this idea of digital platforms acting like a modern soma, that quick fix, that escape.
Mm-hmm.
But you mentioned it goes deeper. This idea of algorithms creating, what did you call them? Cognitive clones?
Yeah, cognitive clones. It's a bit of a stark term, but it captures something important.
What does it mean, practically speaking, for our mind?
Well, it's more than just being stuck in an echo chamber, only seeing things you agree with. Algorithms don't just reflect our preferences. They actively narrow our cognitive pathways.
How so?
Think about it. If you're constantly fed very, very similar types of content, tailored exactly to what the algorithm thinks you want, some research suggests this can actually reduce the brain's capacity for what's called divergent thinking.
Divergent thinking?
Yeah.
Like thinking outside the box.
Creativity.
Exactly. Coming up with novel ideas, considering different perspectives. It literally becomes harder. It's like our thought patterns start to blur, converging into this collective algorithm-shaped mindset.
That sounds serious.
It is. And this isn't just about individual habits, scrolling too much or whatever. It points towards a potential evolutionary pressure.
Evolutionary, you mean like changing us as a species?
Potentially, yes. Reshaping human consciousness itself.
Yeah.
Making us maybe neurologically less capable of the deep, sustained, difficult thinking that, built civilizations.
Wow. That sparked scientific breakthroughs, created great art, all this stuff that requires focus and complexity.
That is a profoundly unsettling thought. This idea of cognitive extinction, our capacity for deep thought, just shrinking. It makes it feel like, what can we even do?
And it would feel hopeless, I agree, if our brains were fixed, like concrete.
But they're not.
Not at all. And this is where we need to shift the focus, bring in the hope and the agency, because the situation isn't set in stone. We have this incredible power called neuroplasticity.
Neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to change, to rewire itself.
Exactly. Your brain isn't permanently broken by using social media or being online a lot. It's remarkably resilient.
Is there evidence for that? Real world evidence?
Absolutely. There are studies, good ones, showing that people who step away from social media, even for just 2 weeks, show significant improvement.
Improvements in what?
In their ability to focus, in their overall sense of well-being, their cognitive function sharpens up. There was one study, I think it was in behavioral sciences, looking at young adults, a 2-week digital detox. It significantly reduced smartphone addiction markers.
Really? Just 2 weeks?
Yeah. And improved physical health, mental health, social health. It shows our brains can bounce back. They can adapt and recover.
Okay, that genuinely offers some hope. The idea that we can actually, rewire things.
Yeah.
But let's get practical. For someone listening right now, maybe feeling totally hooked on their phone, what's the first step? Like the most accessible thing they could try using this neuroplasticity idea beyond just saying, quit everything cold turkey?
That's a great question because cold turkey is often unrealistic, right?
Right.
And this leads to what you call the uncomfortable truth, which is we're not just passive victims here. We're active participants. We choose to pick up the phone. We choose to scroll. We're part of a system that, frankly, profits from our distraction, from our cognitive degradation.
So we have to own our part in it.
Yeah, we do. And recognize that our current relationship with a lot of this tech, it's not sustainable. It's not healthy. And crucially, It is not inevitable. The power to change things is still right here.
So it's less about being anti-technology and more about being smarter with technology, choosing differently.
Precisely.
But is that really possible for individuals to do consistently? These platforms are designed to be sticky. They're woven into everything.
It is possible. And the encouraging thing is it's already happening. People are pushing back.
Like what? What does that look like?
Well, you see this growing slow media movement, for example. People making conscious choices about information. Quality over just sheer quantity.
Yeah.
Curating what they consume instead of just letting the fire hose blast them.
Interesting. Taking control of the input.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's not just individuals acting alone. Think about schools.
Ah, yes. The phone-free school zones.
Right. All over the world, schools are trying this, going phone-free during the school day, and they're seeing results, sometimes dramatic improvements.
In what areas?
Student focus, obviously, but also in social interaction, kids actually talking to each other face-to-face more. And even in some cases, test scores are improving.
You mentioned France earlier.
Yeah, France banned smartphones in schools for kids under 15. They reported tangible benefits. It's not about hating phones. It's about creating spaces where other things can flourish.
So distinguishing tech that helps us versus tech that, well, exploits us.
That's the core distinction. There's technology that genuinely serves human flourishing tools for collaboration, educational apps that actually teach complex skills, creative software, amazing stuff. And then there's technology designed primarily to capture and hold your attention, often by tapping into our psychological vulnerabilities, basically for profit. We need to get better at telling the difference.
That's a really powerful distinction. And the school example is tangible. Are those changes just temporary behavior adjustments, though? Or do we think they're actually causing deeper shifts, like cognitively, in those kids?
Well, the research is still ongoing, obviously, but the early signs are promising. It suggests it's not just superficial.
How so?
By removing that constant lure, that pull of the device, you give the developing brain space to practice sustained attention, to engage in more complex social interactions face-to-face. It's like you're allowing the neural pathways for concentration and real-world connection to strengthen again, instead of constantly being overridden by the quick-hit dopamine.
Right. It really drives home how much conscious effort is needed. So for you listening, what can you actively do? We mentioned tools like Freedom or OneSec app, or even just using the focus modes built into your phone. You call this cognitive self-defense. How do these actually work?
They work by creating friction. That's the key idea. Friction.
Friction, like making it harder to just instantly check something.
Exactly. Think about your brain. You've got the impulsive system, sees a notification, wants that little dopamine hit right now. And then you've got your prefrontal cortex, the part responsible for planning, self-control, long-term goals. It's powerful, but it's slower. These tools, by adding even just a few seconds of delay, making you wait or type something in, they create a pause, friction. And that tiny pause gives your slower, more deliberate prefrontal cortex a chance to catch up, to say, hang on, do I really need to check Instagram right now, or was I trying to focus on this report?
So it's like giving your rational brain a fighting chance against the instant gratification impulse.
Precisely. It's about deliberately creating space for thoughtfulness in a world designed for instant reaction.
It really does feel like so much of modern life is that battle, isn't it? And we need to consciously build defenses.
We do, and recognize that the battle isn't just in our heads. It's engineered into the platforms. But the good news, as we said, neuroplasticity, our brains can adapt.
So connecting this back to the bigger picture,
Yeah.
what are we actually fighting for here?
We're fighting for the preservation of human consciousness itself, I would argue. Meaning those qualities that, make us truly human. Creativity, empathy, wisdom, the ability to think deeply, to connect authentically, to maybe even transcend our immediate circumstances.
Things that don't just happen automatically.
No, absolutely not. They require cultivation, they require protection, they require conscious choice in how we spend our attention and energy.
Which leads to a final, maybe provocative thought for you listening right now. Will you be part of the generation that just sort of sleepwalked into digital servitude, or the one that chose to wake up to reclaim human agency? Because the extinction Huxley seemed to foresee, it wasn't necessarily physical. It was cognitive, emotional, spiritual perhaps. But here's a little twist. Extinction events in nature, they often create opportunities. New niches open up. Evolution happens.
That's a fascinating point. What will we evolve into? Will it be sort of digitally domesticated consumers, passively absorbing whatever the algorithm feeds us? Or will we choose to remain or become, again, conscious human beings capable of shaping our own destiny, our own minds?
And the choice is still ours.
The choice is absolutely still ours, and this is the urgent part, only if we make it consciously, deliberately, and frankly, soon.
What does making the choice look like day to day?
It looks like small acts of resistance, small acts of preservation, every time you choose to pick up a book instead of endless scrolling. Every time you choose to have that difficult, awkward conversation in person instead of avoiding conflict online. Every time you allow yourself to just sit with uncertainty for a moment, instead of immediately Googling for a quick, easy answer.
Those small moments add up.
They absolutely do. Each one is like a vote for preserving human consciousness, a little bit of rewiring. And remember that neuroplasticity we talked about. It means it's genuinely never too late to start. You can start rewiring your brain for freedom, for deeper engagement today.